The story of Pac-Man Jones. Adam Pac-Man. Jones grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, and football honestly felt inevitable from the beginning. As a kid, he was one of those athletes coaches talk about years later. Fast, fearless, impossible to tackle in open space. But his childhood wasn't easy. His father was murdered when Adam was still young, and his mother worked hard to support the family. Football became both an outlet and a path forward. The nickname Pac-Man came when he was little because he could destroy a box of Pac-Man arcade tokens. The name stuck permanently. By high school, everybody knew him as Pac-Man more than Adam. At Westlake High School, he became a football phenomenon. He played cornerback, receiver, and return specialist, basically wherever coaches needed a game-changing play. He also ran track and was explosive enough that colleges across the country recruited him heavily. But the biggest stage came at West Virginia University. Under legendary coach Rich Rodriguez, Pac-Man became one of the most electric players in college football in the early 2000s. He wasn't just a shutdown corner, he was chaos in cleats. Punt returns? Dangerous. Kick returns? Dangerous. Interceptions? Could go the distance anytime. There's an old football saying, "Don't kick to that guy." Pac-Man was absolutely that guy. One fun anecdote from his college days. Teammates said practices would sometimes stop because players just wanted to watch him return punts. Coaches would literally warn the punting unit not to give him space because he could embarrass the entire coverage team. At West Virginia, he became a star partly because of his swagger. Pac-Man talked constantly. He celebrated. He chirped at receivers every play. Today, that attitude feels normal in football culture, but in the early 2000s, some traditional coaches hated it. NFL scouts, however, loved the talent. In the 2005 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans selected Pac-Man 6th overall. That's incredibly high for a cornerback/return specialist. The Titans believed they were getting a future superstar, and honestly, on the field, they were right. Pac-Man immediately flashed elite ability. He had ridiculous closing speed and natural instincts. As a return man, he played like every touch might become a touchdown. Fans loved him because every punt return felt unpredictable. But then came the off-field chaos. Pac-Man's NFL career became almost as famous for controversy as football. There were nightclub incidents, fights, arrests, and endless headlines. The most damaging was a 2007 Las Vegas strip club altercation that led to a shooting involving members of his entourage. Even though Pac-Man denied major responsibility, the NFL cracked down hard. Commissioner Roger Goodell suspended him for the entire 2007 season. At the time, it was one of the harshest personal conduct punishments the league had ever handed out. And here's one of the craziest anecdotes of his career. During the suspension, Pac-Man briefly became a professional wrestler. Seriously, he appeared in total nonstop action wrestling, teaming with wrestlers and participating in storylines. For a while, it genuinely looked possible that Pac-Man Jones might leave football and become a wrestling character full-time. The absurdity fit his public image perfectly. Eventually, though, football pulled him back. After a short and rocky stint with the Dallas Cowboys, many people thought his NFL career was finished. Then came the redemption chapter with the Cincinnati Bengals. This is where Pac-Man's story gets more interesting than people remember. Under coach Marvin Lewis, Jones slowly rebuilt his career and reputation. Cincinnati took a chance on him, and over time he matured into a veteran leader. Not perfect, never perfect, but noticeably more stable. And he could still play. A lot of casual fans don't realize Pac-Man lasted in the NFL for 12 seasons total, which is incredibly difficult at cornerback. You don't survive that long unless you can truly play. His best Bengals years showed how smart he was as a defender. Early career Pac-Man relied mostly on athleticism. Older Pac-Man became technical and crafty. He studied receivers, anticipated routes, and used veteran tricks constantly. One of his funniest traits was how much trash he talked. Receivers said Pac-Man never stopped talking. Before the snap, after the snap, during warm-ups, probably during commercial breaks. Former teammates joked that he could start an argument in an empty room. Another famous anecdote came from his return game fearlessness. Pac-Man had a reputation for trying to return punts that coaches desperately wanted fair caught. Sometimes it led to spectacular highlights. Sometimes it gave coaches heart attacks. There's a reason football people still talk about him as one of the most naturally gifted return men ever. By the mid-2000s, Pac-Man had transformed from troubled young star into one of the NFL's elder statesmen, though still fiery enough to get into occasional penalties and sideline confrontations. He earned Pro Bowl honors in 2015 and became respected for mentoring younger players. That redemption arc surprised a lot of people because his career once looked completely unsalvageable. After brief final stops, including time with the Denver Broncos, Pac-Man retired from professional football. So what's he up to now? These days, Pac-Man Jones has reinvented himself again as a sports media personality, podcast guest, and social media entertainer. He appears regularly on football shows and gambling-related sports content and has built a reputation for being brutally honest and hilariously unfiltered. He's become especially popular in the modern podcast era because he tells unbelievable NFL locker room stories with zero hesitation. A lot of younger fans now know him less as controversial cornerback and more as that hilarious former NFL dude with insane stories. He's also talked openly about growth, mistakes, and trying to be a better father and mentor. One thing people around him often say now is that age softened him just enough without changing his personality completely, which honestly describes Pac-Man perfectly. Because throughout his entire life, from Atlanta playgrounds to West Virginia stardom to NFL chaos and redemption, Adam Pac-Man Jones was never boring. Not for 1 second.